Good morning. It could be afternoon, who knows. My name's Andy Young and I'm one of the lecturers down at Unitec in Auckland, New Zealand, and I teach automotive, and during the year I like to produce videos which I can then use within my lectures to help cover the course content for my students and allow them to see me operating in a working environment and to see real world diagnostics, problems and of course repairs. Now this particular vehicle behind me is a Yamaha Viking. It's one of the 2013 vintage and it lives on one of the islands just away from Auckland. I'm not going to tell you which one. And it works on a farm, and it's, like I say, it's only about 18 months old. It's been worked extremely hard, and the diagnostics so far, it's got a suspected blown head gasket. It could be a cracked head, it could be a cracked barrel. Essentially there's overheating going on, it's losing water. The primary fail, we believe, was the thermostat. Something very simple. The thermostat had failed and it had failed to open one day. The operator of the vehicle unfortunately didn't notice that the engine was overheating and continued to drive it with the engine beyond its normal running temperature, which has caused, I feel, the head gasket to fail. Now the vehicle has travelled quite a distance to my workshop because there was nobody in Auckland prepared to work on it. So I took up the challenge, and now it isn't just an engine repair job. We've got a full service and overhaul to do on the vehicle. We've got brakes to check and overhaul, wheel bearings and that kind of stuff. But the main task is, of course, the engine repair. And to aid the filming, so you can really see what's going on and to make these videos a bit more comprehensive, we're going to, or I'm going to include an engine removal and refitment to this vehicle. And we're going to do the actual engine strip down, the top end strip down inspection on the bench. Now, in a real world environment, in a workshop, to do a replacement head gasket on this particular vehicle, we do not need to remove the engine. All that work can be done in situ, but it's going to make it much easier to film and for you to see what's really going on. So here we go. We're going to make a start. We're going to pull off the rear tray. That will gain access to the engine. We've got rear wheels to take off, drive shafts to take out, a lot of engine mounts, wiring and stuff, drain the coolant, and then we can get the engine taken out. It's going to be a very stop-start kind of video. There's lots of work to do. One thing that's absolutely imperative when doing this kind of work is to ensure that you have the manufacturer's workshop manual for the vehicle that you're working on. There's going to be heaps of nuts and bolts that we're going to be pulling, undoing and then retightening again later on, and we need to know torque settings for that. You can't do up head bolts without knowing a torque setting. You know, you could over crush the head gasket, which could pull the threads on the bolts. They're only into aluminium. If we don't tighten those bolts up tight enough, then of course the head gasket could fail again. We need to know specifications too. When we're checking to see if the head on that engine has warped, we need to know what's specification or what's the tolerance, what can it be up to when we measure that. There's a lot of stuff that we need to know, and really you shouldn't be doing a job like this until you've been able to source the relevant information. Now, the World Wide Web, somebody out there has probably uploaded one of these manuals. I have what I need. I have contacts at Yamaha, which is very helpful for me. I actually work for Yamaha some days. What I can't do for copyright purposes is show you the manual. What I can do is, as I'm going through the job, is to tell you the torque settings. So you'll find in this video, on the engine rebuild, certainly the strip down and rebuild, I will cover all torque specifications for the bolts as we go through the video. And that is critical. You'll need that information to do this job. Okay, so first of all, we're going to remove the tray, gain access. I want to do some further diagnostic work to confirm for myself that it is a coolant system failure, that the head gasket has gone, or there's some breach in the integrity of the cooling system, so we're losing pressure. and we can do that using a coolant system pressure tester. We can also run the engine up and we can see pulsations maybe on the actual tester gauge, which is combustion pressures being pumped into the cooling system because again there's a leak somewhere, maybe at the head gasket, cracked head, whatever. So we'll do that. We'll make a start pulling some bits and pieces off. I want to cover diagnostics first, and that may well form its own video in itself. If it is, then of course I'll do a different intro later on. But we need to first of all confirm that this problem is in fact within the engine. If it's been caused by an external leak somewhere, then hey, we don't need to even take the engine out. You know, it's a totally different job, and you know, we'll tackle it based on what we find. Okay, so we're going to pull the tray off, get access to the engine, and go from there. Cheers. Okay, so the bed in itself is held on. We've got a gas strut over there that needs to be unbolted, and very simply, two little pins. So first job is going to be to remove the R-clips off the pins so that they're ready to pull out, pull the gas strut off, and then we can lift the bed away. We need a part tray then, please. Oh, you've opened that back door as well, well done. Right, 12 mil. Right, Ben, can you support the weight of the tray, please? Turn on me. Alright, can you pull the tray towards you a bit? I want to just tension this bolt up. Yeah. There we go. Oh, that's it. We've got it now. Right, so you're going to take the weight of the tray in a second. Bingo. Right, we'll start pulling those pins out, Ben.
Yeah.
Are we done? It's a lot easier with this out of the way. So, right, use that side. Yes. Ready? Cool. Okay, so we've taken the rear tray off. Easy task. All we did was remove the gas strut top mount. We had the pins to pull out, and of course the rear lighting wiring harness. Very simple, it's on a few clips. Took us about 5 minutes, and that gives us a lot more access now to the engine. We're going to have to remove quite a bit of stuff actually. We'll start off with the heat plate, top mount, and we'll get the exhaust out of the way. Get the windy gun fired up. That'll be a lot better.
I use that when I strip it down with a scrap motor portion and I got fed up.
Hey, now we need to do some diagnostics before we start pulling over again.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do that shortly. If you want to go and pop the bonnet.
With the bonnet?
Yeah, because the radiator's at the front. You go and pop the bonnet and check that the radiator is full of water. I don't think it will be. You just fill it right up. And then we'll do some diagnostics.
I don't think that's why I had a bottle of water in the tray.
Yes. No. So now we've gained access to the engine, we're just going to do some more diagnostics. We're going to check that the coolant system is full of, well, water at least. What I've done is I've installed a coolant pressure tester. Basically it's just a pump which clips onto the top of the radiator. You can see all about how to use one of these in my coolant testing video. And what we do now is we've filled up the radiator full of coolant because it was very, very low, which the customer have been telling us that they've been constantly topping up the water. So what we do now is pressurise the system, and we're going to see if it's going to hold pressure. Now if there's an external leak, then we're going to see water being pushed out of the system onto the floor. If it's an internal leak on the engine, for example the head gasket, then there's a chance it's going to actually force water into the cylinder. Now obviously if that happens and we try to start the engine once water's been pushed into the cylinder, then the cylinder could hydraulic. Now if that's the case, you do risk bending the conrod. So it's always a good idea once you've done this test to remove the spark plug and spin the engine over, or not start the engine. But if you are going to start the engine, then you need to take the spark plug out, spin the engine over, make sure there's no water in the cylinder, put the spark plug back in, and then you can start the engine up. Okay, so we're going to pressurise it up. Okay, so yeah, we're clearly losing pressure on that, and it's not just from the cap. I was stopping that. So we have got a leak. Now the next thing to do is to have a look underneath the vehicle and see if we've got any water dripping down. And as thought, we don't. So we're going to assume, because there's no external leak and we have got a drop in pressure, that the leak must be internal to the engine. Now if we take the spark plug out now and crank the engine over and we get water coming out of the cylinder, then that gives us confirmation it's definitely a leak within the engine. Now it could be head gasket, it could be a crack in the head, expensive, or a crack in the barrel. Now remember, these are motorcycle engines, quad bike engines. The barrel is not part of the block like on a car, and the barrel can be replaced. So it could be one of those three things. Regardless of which one it is, it's going to be a top end rebuild. So we're going to find that fault when we pull the engine apart on the bench. So we'll move back to the rear of the vehicle, we will pull the spark plug out, and then we'll crank the engine over and see if we get any water out. Okay. Okay. See what we've got. Yeah. Let's give it a crank over. Oh, foot on the brake. I think is a requirement. Yeah. Okay. Lots of water. So that was excellent. I hope the phone holds out. So there you go. Yes, lots of water in the cylinder. So that is absolute confirmation that we have an internal engine failure. We've had 100% confirmation that we're getting coolant into the cylinder when we're pressurising the system. We don't need to do any more diagnostic checks on that. So now we need to remove the engine, get it up on the workbench, and we're going to strip it down on the bench. Like I was saying earlier on, in a normal workshop environment, they wouldn't waste the labour time taking the engine out of the vehicle. The cylinder, there's the cylinder head, barrel, very, very accessible on this Yamaha Viking. All the work will be done in situ. We wouldn't be taking the motor out at all. The reason why I'm taking it out is to make it easier for you guys to see exactly what's going on. It makes it much easier for filming basically. So we are putting a lot more extra effort in there. So yeah, I may not use the whole footage. It's going to take quite a while to get this motor out. I may just stop start and just do a recap of what we've taken out. Initially, we're going to remove the top crossmember. We're going to remove the exhaust system and all the induction pipes. Then we're going to disconnect the wiring harness from the engine. And then finally, we'll be undoing the engine mounts. I reckon it should take us about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to get this motor taken out. We do need to drain what coolant there is left as well, otherwise we'll end up with a very wet workshop, so we'll push the vehicle outside to do that. Okay, let's make a start. Warm. Not too bad, but it wasn't. So, there we go. Right, it's good to give me a hand today, Ben. I don't want it showing off. It's been hot. You may laugh. Easier now than later on. I want to get some photos as well of all the wiring harness positioning and where all the plugs and stuff go.
Yeah.
Some of the drawings aren't great.
So you don't forget.
Yes.
It's a good plan.
Well, it could be in bits for a week, couldn't it? We'll wait for parts.
This has got those stupid.
Yep, that. Bit of oil on those, I reckon.
Alright, it comes to lift the wardrobe.
Jesus, that's heavy.
It wasn't fun. Why I've used these silly clips, like the same ones we've used holding door liners and stuff.
Oh yeah.
All those things.
Okay. Oh no. It's off the pocket. Oh, at least we had good confirmation it was definitely a head gasket.
Yeah, you don't get much better water spray than that.
No. That was pretty good.
Slides up. Just slide off that side.
Why don't you leave it on and take the pipes off the engine?
Yeah.
So you've got one there and one at the far end.
There's a lot of water in there.
Oh, you're taking it off there. I was going to say take the pipe off there because it's going to come off anyway.
No, I hate these plugs. Why does nobody ever make an electrical plug designed to come apart?
Right, so that goes on there, yeah?
Yes.
There you go. That is the only part of the clip.
Is that the temperature sensor?
No, it's a vacuum, it's a valve.
Huh.
Because you've got air there and air there, haven't you? That is moving, it's just full of crap. Okay, so we've removed the exhaust system. We've removed the top plate, almost engine mounting, I suppose. But, it's more of a brace, I think, that the tray just drops down onto. What I like to do at this point in time is I take photos showing all the routing of the wiring, where the plugs go, all that kind of stuff. Doesn't matter what vehicle it is. When you're doing an engine removal replacement, whether it's a car, quad bike, whatever, it's very useful information and stuff that you don't normally see on manufacturers' drawings. Cable routing is a specific thing in itself, and very often you don't have access to those manuals. So take a few photos and then you can refer back to those later on when you're reassembling the vehicle. Get the engine put back in there, and those photos are invaluable. They've got me out of trouble many, many times. So I'm going to stop the film, take some photos, and then we'll start up again. Okay, so we've got to a stage now in the disassembly and removal of the engine where we need to drain the coolant. So we're going to wheel the vehicle outside. We don't want to spill any on the workshop floor. It's basically just water in there anyway now. The customer's been topping this up with water for quite some time. So all the coolant basically is being burnt away. So we'll wheel it outside, we'll drain the coolant, we'll wheel it back in, and then we can make a start pulling off all the induction pipes, continue to unplug the loom, and then finally we can work our way down to the engine mountings and get it lifted out. Right, the vehicle is back in the workshop after draining what turns out to be very, very little water out of the cooling system. Even despite us topping the radiator up, we didn't bother to bleed it up because it can be quite a big job on one of these things. The radiator's right at the front, engine's right at the back, lots of long pipes. Turns out there was lots of air in the cooling system. So now we're going to continue with removing the air induction pipes and unplugging the loom. So we get that fuel rail clip off. Remember how these came off. Yeah, out of the way. mind your eyes for a second because this might be under pressure. Then. There we go. Fuel pipe. That's the pressurised one, you see. Look.
Mm-hmm.
Petrol. No smoking, Sam.
No smoke.
Job. So what's next? Oh man, it really does need a clean this strut. Give me a star screwdriver.
Same one?
No. Oh, and a flat screwdriver then, please. Oh, that ring's nice.
It's nice breathing.
It is.
It's a genius idea opening that door.
Little clips all over. There we go. There we go. There we go. So large they made the vehicle around it. One of those. One of those.
Those breather pipes are full of dust.
Yeah, well that's just a belt supply.
Yeah. Surely all that dust couldn't be good down there.
No, not at all.
Like wear the belt out.
I think there'd be a filter on there. Right, all that out of the way. Right, can you find me a little flat screwdriver?
Let that enough?
No, a little tiny one. Yeah, look. Always out of this toolbox then. TPS. Wow, everything is still in mud. looking, I guess. TPS breather can stay on the engine for now. Okay, we've got the throttle cable to disconnect. Although, I could just take the throttle body off and leave that on the vehicle actually. So yeah, flat screwdriver again, Ben, please. And, oh, number 3 Allen key socket.
You got one?
Yeah, my other toolbox, yeah. Cool, yeah. I'll give you the ratchet. Must have done.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Number 4. Oh, there we go. Right. More bits, Ben. Oh, we've got oil in the airbox.
That's not good.
Yeah. Sludge. So that'll be water that's got into the engine oil and then been boiled off. So it's another indication of a blown head gasket. So yeah, everything's looking very promising as to correct diagnostics. Flat screwdriver then, here we go.
Really already. Cool.
That's all right then. Okay, so by keeping the throttle body on the vehicle, which you've got to remove at some point anyway, it means you don't have to disturb the throttle cable, which makes life a lot easier later on. Ooh, can I get that undone? One throttle body. Do you want to see if we've got a plastic bag somewhere? We'll just put that in the bag. Keep all because it's going to be outside, don't forget, isn't it?
Some in the house.
Right. Let's just stuff a rag down one sec for now. There we go. Okay, I know we're pulling the head apart later on, taking the head off, but we've got the induction for the belt cooling system here as well. And I want to make sure we don't get any dirt down there. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got some linkage to disconnect, which is here for the gears. That's just on an R clip, that's easy. Get that pulled out. Actually really easy to work on, well done Yamaha, very happy with this so far. Now, little clips like this, I like to put them back on where they came from, so I know where they go. Just makes it easier later on than having a big pile of bits. I'm trying to work it all out. There we go. Okay, I'm going to just take that bracket off. Get it off. One, two, 3, 4. Okay. make a start on the engine mounts then if you want. You can find an engine mount and just start doing the bolts. We're not far off now.
Where the hell is it bolted to?
Oh, there's some other.
Maybe it's underneath.
Oh, maybe. Might be a chrome, there might be a jacket up in the chrome underneath. But if in doubt, you can always read the manual.
Yeah. Oh wow, there's a big split in the dash guard now.
Yeah.
Is it a big rock or something?
It's steel or plastic dash guard.
Very thin steel.
Right. Engine bits.
That's a mount down there, underneath that hose.
Yeah.
I think.
One bolt in the wrong place. That wasn't very nice, in all honesty. Okay, so I'm just removing the gear selector mechanism bracket, so you don't have to play around with the adjustment of that later on. Just going to leave the bracket in the vehicle. Makes it easier for later on. Really want to take the arm off if we can help it. That's what I might have to do. 10. Oh. What do you reckon, Ben?
I reckon we need a longer extension back. So far I can only see one engine mount.
Oh, there's probably another one.
Oh, there will be, but they're very well hidden in mud.
Cool. Yeah, that is gear selection out the way. That one. Okay, well that appears to be all the wiring off. Disconnected. That's good news. All that can go down there, out of the way. It's turning out to be quite an easy job to get this engine out. All that's remaining now is to undo the engine mountings, and then we can lift this motor out and get it put on the bench. We've disconnected all the wiring harness. I've taken the throttle body off the engine, that's staying on the vehicle, that way we don't need to play around with the throttle cable and the adjustments. I've disconnected the bracket for the gear selection, so again we're not changing any of the adjustments on the cable. All the induction piping has been taken off. That's the induction piping for the belt cooling. These have got CVT drive, and they have a very large induction system to help cool that drive belt. On the induction, the air intake system for the engine, however, we found some emulsified oil. That's oil mixed with water inside the final airbox prior to the induction, the throttle body, which is another indication that the oil for the engine has become contaminated with water. And of course that water is the water that's been getting into the cylinder. It's been running down the side of the rings, getting past the piston rings. Probably when the vehicle's stationary and turned off. Remember, the cooling system's still under pressure. So the pressure's pushing the water through the head gasket. It's filling up the cylinder and it's running down the side of the piston overnight into the crankcase and contaminating the oil. When the engine warms up to operating temperature, that water in the oil turns to steam and it gets pushed out through the breathers with some of the oil into the airbox. And that's where we get to find that residue. Okay, so we're not far off now, a couple of engine mountings, and then we can get it lifted out. So to gain access to one of the engine mounts, we've got to remove this external coolant pipe. So I've done it at one end, Ben's going to... Oh, it's got another one at the back then as well for the oil cooler.
Fantastic.
So that's just a plier to get that off. Okay, that's that off there. It's raining and sunny at the same time outside.
Can you see if there's another bolt on the other side? Or just one bolt?
I'll be just the one normally on these. Cool. So I'll get this taken off and then we should be able to wiggle it out of the way. Oh, I've still got the starter motor feed wire. Can you go and disconnect the battery at the front for us, mate? Order a new O-ring for this pipe as well. Oh, there we go. I found some water. Not a lot. A bit. There's the O-ring. Nice. So that's the pipe that we need to remove to get access to one of the engine mountings. Right, so you've got two bolts here. We've got a little 8mm and a 14 on that engine mounting bin.
Battery is disconnected, put it in the positive one.
Did actually bring the engine hoist?
Well, yeah, you didn't dump it on the concrete like the rest, you dumped it on the gravel.
So where is it?
It's perfect.
Because we might use that, I think, to get it out.
Seamless. They've used a little tiny bolt as a backup as well.
Yes. So it doesn't twist.
Okay.
Must be a twisting issue there. Okay, well that's that one. Okay, so lastly, other than the engine mounts, I've just got this cable here to undo, which appears to be no plug, which is annoying. Oh, I know what it is. It's another strap. And it's under lots of mud. Bit of archaeology going on. Wow. Okay.
Right. Is there the same the other side, I assume?
Yeah, I think so. And then there's two more at the back somewhere.
Yeah, I think this one we get to.
Right, so that's the earth strap off. Isn't it? That's the earth strap off. Put that bolt back in there again. Yeah. Stop it filling up with crap as well. It's very dusty or something. And you see another one down here then.
Okay.
Exactly the same setup. So I'll do this one at the back here. Why don't you just go underneath and undo the big 14 or 17 that holds the mount to the chassis?
Okay.
And
Should jack it up then?
yeah, and then we'll get the engine hoist set up.
Ascending.
Roll.
What's your tripod? Because it is slowly coming backwards.
You drag that out then.
Oh, there's a wasp down inside the kit here.
Mm-hmm. You put the engine mounting bolts in this box, yeah?
Yeah. Shall I go down onto the stands or just leave it for now?
Just have them there for safety, I think.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be dropping that down again shortly. Oh, that was loose. The other one was real tight, wasn't it? The front one. Engine mount bolt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cracking now.
So they should be set at an angle, they won't be straight down bolt.
Yeah. Oh yes, there are 14 as well.
You're doing the ones on the left hand side of the vehicle, aren't you? We've already done the ones on the right hand side of the vehicle.
Yeah. Oh, I think this is a puddle of water.
I'll wake you up. You said you were having a shower this morning, wasn't it? Painful. Hey, we can lift that trolley down, put this engine on the trolley, and give it a water blast before I strip it.
Seriously?
Yeah, because it's really dirty.
Oh, I knew that trolley would come in handy, doesn't it? I believe it's at the end of the day only holding with 4 bolts.
Yeah, all at the base of the engine as well,
Yeah, it's weird.
which is why they rock around quite a bit. quite long bolts these, aren't they?
Yeah. Why don't we just undo these four from the get-go?
Because if you think about it, because they're all pointing inwards, you can't actually get them all out.
You wiggle it enough.
Yeah, but then you won't be able to get them back in again.
Right, those two are undone.
Cool.
And we're up to the
Okay, so hopefully you can see me on the camera. Not that that's too much. Now, basically everything has now been disconnected. The engine mountings are loose. We're going to set up the engine hoist and we're going to lift this engine out using the hoist, and then we're going to put it onto a trolley, give it a good, well, we're going to seal all orifices, put the spark plug back in, bung up any pipe work and stuff, and we're going to give it a good water blast because it is quite dirty, being a farmer's vehicle, and we don't want that dirt to contaminate the internal of the engine when we do the head strip. Okay, next job, engine hoist. Where's that? Oh, perfect. Okay, so other than the engine mountings, we had the drive shafts to remove, and we've now had to pretty much strip out most of the cab area, and that's for two reasons. The main reason actually was the stator wiring plug is there, and we had to remove the airbox to get access to it. Thanks Yamaha, cheers for that, another half an hour's work. So we've got to unplug all that loom, unplug the stator and the ignition pickup and so on from the loom, and at the same time we then disconnected the front drive shaft. Now we're hoping, it's not necessarily going to happen, we're hoping that the rear drive shaft down there, look, which is splined into the output the same way as the front. Once we get the engine airborne, we can then slide it forwards in the chassis slightly to disconnect that rear drive shaft. Once that's done, then we can lift the engine free from the chassis, and then we can get it washed. Okay, so there you go. Bit of extra work. This vehicle is going to get a complete pressure wash down to get rid of all this farm stuff, because it's obviously a fire hazard as well. Can't send it back to the customer in that condition, that's for sure. Hang on. That wire must have fit back in. Right, go on. Go on, keep it down. Good idea using engine hoist.
Makes life easy.
More control.
You've got the tools now that you
Absolutely. Right, just go
What in
step.
the dipstick?
Right, we've got a wire there. Okay. That's okay. Stop. Got a pipe. We have a pipe. Oh, cool pipe. Okay, so take it off for a second. Pull those pliers, please, then. Some more water. Okay, so you keep going now. All the way up. Dum, 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 dum. Hee-hee! Engine out. So turned out to be a slightly larger job than we first thought, with the issues of some of the wiring harness couplings. But all in all, a couple of hours, I would say. Not too bad a job. And really wanted to come out, the state of this vehicle is horrific. So now that the engine's out, we can give it a really good pressure wash down and at least deliver it back in a presentable, usable condition. The amount of straw tucked away where it shouldn't be was covering up the coolant pipes as well. Now straw is straw's a really good insulator. And of course, Yamaha will have based their testing on this vehicle on those coolant pipes not being covered in straw. And those coolant pipes are going to radiate some heat away whilst the coolant's heading to the radiator and on its way back. And if those coolant pipes are buried in soil and straw, then we're going to lose some of the cooling effect on this vehicle, which could contribute towards an overheating scenario. I mean, here in New Zealand, it is pretty hot some days. Yamaha have had problems in the past. I won't elaborate on what, but they have had overheating problems with some of the rhinos. So, you know, anything that's going to impede the transfer of heat away from the engine is going to be a bad thing. And looking at the state of the vehicle and the fact that it hasn't really been washed out ever by the looks of it, that's bad maintenance, and it's not helped, and it certainly, I think, has contributed towards this failure. Anyway, we'll get the engine washed off, and we'll get it up on the bench, and we'll start stripping the head down, and we'll see what's going on with the head gasket. But I'm very, very confident that it's a head gasket failure on this vehicle. Okay then, nice and steady, we don't want to drop it on the floor.